This is a short essay written for Frankenstein and Beyond, a course focusing on the representation of artificial life in literature and cinema. Art featuring robots often aims to consider what makes a human, and does so by understanding what differentiates humans from machines. However, other works take the use of robots not as a way to focus on the mechanical as foreign, but as a manifestation of non-tangible aspects of humanity. This overlap is facilitated by the blending of people and robots, which developed a popularity in anime and manga as a medium. Ghost in the Shell uses cyborgs and the vernacular of machines to represent concepts in interpersonal relationships. Anime and manga's interest in connecting the organic and mechanical has a long history. Astro Boy by Osamu Tezuka, known as the father of manga, is one of the first creations of the mediums as we know it today, and features a robotic boy intended to take the emotional place of a dead son. This initial premise sets off the representation of the subject in the medium as a nurturing one. This trend continues in Ghost in the Shell's contemporary Neon Genesis Evangelion, both released in 1995, although Ghost in the Shell's manga source material was first published in 1989. Neon Genesis Evangelion similarly uses mixtures of biology and mechanics as a representation of psychological concepts and interpersonal relationships among humans. The most immediate aspect of the film which can be approached with this understanding of human and robotic relations is the title. The titular ghost, as the implications of the word suggests, is the non-physical attributes held within the physical shell. For humans, this could include the concepts of a soul, personality, or even the mind. In machines, at least the ones that the film depicts, and especially cyborg protagonist Motoko Katsunagi, this similarly refers to intelligence and an immaterial separation between her and others of the same make and model. The outer shell holds the ghost, and the story does not shy away from difficulties in feeling or not feeling a connection between the two. Focusing in on Motoko, she openly states the value she places in the individuality of her consciousness shaped by her experiences. However, her shell is not exactly unique. Within the first half of the film, she travels through the city on a boat, where she catches a glimpse of someone who looks exactly like her. Only their clothing, something which is presumably dictated by the choices of the ghost, as opposed to the inherent qualities of the shell, shows any difference between them. The shot begins on the familiar face of the stranger, which is noticeably sporting a blank expression. Next is a reverse shot, which cuts to Motoko, who moves her torso to continue looking at her, contrasting the other woman's still and uninterested body language. Yet another difference in their internal lives, despite having identical bodies. There is one more cut, which remains on Motoko's back, and reveals her more harrowing expression only when she turns around. While this is not exactly a common situation for humans who do not have reproducible models as cyborgs do, it is representative of larger desires in beings to differentiate themselves in order to be specifically recognizable by people, particularly to form relationships. Motoko continuously expresses a desire to go beyond being just data, a mannequin, or a serial number. In contrast, the character of the puppet master goes by a code name, which is a series of numbers, and only takes a body when forced to or out of necessity. The climax of the film is centered around a conversation between these two, during which a dichotomy is created by the language of the film between barriers and networks. Barriers had been mentioned throughout the film previously. They're akin to a firewall which protects technological information. But more pressingly, it refers to the inability for humans to fully understand what occurs in one another's heads. With this comes a certain amount of pain, as not surpassing barriers means accepting miscommunication and misunderstanding as a given in human relationships. However, there is also a sanctity to these barriers, as attempts to hack or break them is equal to a great invasion of privacy, and only achievable through illegal or highly shunned means. Networks represent the opposite of barriers. They are the vast, invisible lines that connect people, which in this case can be achieved through a complete merging of two or more individuals. This merging reflects attributes of relationships, such as seeking what we don't find in ourselves in others. Yet it takes it to an extreme which erases individuality, while accepting a complete unity of souls. Shot reverse shot is employed again to show both the disparity and unification of the characters, as one frame centers Motoko with half of the puppet master's face, while the other frame does the opposite. Motoko and the puppet master plan to go through with this melding of minds, begging the question of whether it is better to accept the hurt that comes with barriers for the sake of identity, or discard identity for a complete understanding of others. The ending of the film shows an amalgamation of these two characters, which is different from the previously discussed merge, and can serve as a representation of an ideal human relationship, as in one which balances barriers, Motoko's insistence on her own identity, and networks, the puppet master's insistence on unity for completeness, to ultimately create a new concept, which values the creation of diverse selves and infinite possibilities for connection.